Want to make life easier and have a little fun as you age? Sometimes playing dumb is the smartest thing you can do. It helps you avoid stress, skip unwanted tasks, and even get people to help you more. But how do you do it right? Stick around, because I'm sharing 6 simple tricks to master the art of playing dumb when you're older, without anyone catching on. But before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe and tap that notification bell so you never miss a video on staying sharp, healthy, and stress-free as you age. Tips number 1. The power of forgetting names. As we age, remembering names can become a challenge, but sometimes pretending to forget names can be a clever strategy. In social situations, people often expect older individuals to have some memory lapses. This can work to your advantage when dealing with unwanted interactions, pushy salespeople, or people you'd rather not engage with. Imagine someone persistently trying to sell you something. Instead of shutting them down aggressively, you can politely say, "Oh, I'm sorry, what was your name again?" Ask this multiple times, and they might get the hint that you're not fully invested in the conversation. This technique is also useful when dealing with complicated social obligations. If someone invites you to an event you don't want to attend, a simple, "Oh, I must have forgotten, was it this weekend?" can buy you time or even get you off the hook completely. This strategy also works in playful settings. Grandkids will often giggle when you pretend to mix up their names. It gives them a sense of importance as they correct you, strengthening your bond with them. The trick to playing dumb effectively is to use it sparingly. You don't want to overdo it to the point where people doubt your real memory. Instead, use it strategically in situations where you want to steer conversations, avoid commitments, or simply add a touch of humor to social interactions. Remember, forgetting can sometimes be smarter than remembering. Tips number 2. The art of being bad with technology. Technology is constantly changing, and for many older adults, keeping up can feel overwhelming. But did you know that pretending to be bad with technology can actually make life easier? Instead of struggling with complicated devices, you can encourage younger family members to step in and help, without them even realizing it. Think about this. The next time you need to set up a new phone, instead of spending hours figuring it out, simply say, "Oh dear, these smartphones are getting so complicated. I don't know how you young folks keep up." Watch as your grandkids or children eagerly take over, setting up everything just the way you need it. This approach is particularly useful when dealing with apps, online banking, or even social media. If someone sends you a long, confusing text message that you don't want to respond to, just reply, "Oh, I'm terrible with texting, I must have hit the wrong button." This buys you time and lets you manage conversations on your own terms, but there's a balance. You don't want to seem completely clueless. Use this strategy selectively to avoid frustration while still maintaining your independence. After all, technology should make life easier, not harder. And if playing a little dumb gets you out of tech troubles, why not take advantage of it? Tips number 3. Taking your time to answer questions. One of the greatest advantages of aging is that people expect you to take your time. In today's fast-paced world, everyone is looking for quick answers and instant decisions. But when you're older, you have the perfect excuse to slow things down, and sometimes that can work to your benefit. Let's say someone asks you a tricky question, like whether you can attend an event, or if you agree with a certain opinion. Instead of rushing to answer, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath, look thoughtful, and say, "Well, let me think about that for a second." This not only gives you control over the conversation, but also allows you to change the subject if you wish. Deliberate pauses make people listen more carefully. They also make you appear wise and thoughtful, even if you're just trying to avoid answering directly. If someone keeps pressing for an answer, simply respond with an old story. "You know, that reminds me of something that happened years ago." By the time you're finished, they might have forgotten what they even asked. This strategy is useful in family discussions, business negotiations, and even casual conversations. People respect those who take their time to think before speaking. And in a world where everyone wants things instantly, taking your time can be a quiet but powerful way to stay in control. Tips number 4. Pretending to mishear things for peace. Have you ever been in a situation where an argument was brewing, and you just didn't want to get involved? One of the simplest ways to avoid drama is to pretend you didn't hear something. Mishearing, or at least acting like you did, can keep you out of unnecessary conflicts and lighten the mood. For example, if two family members are arguing about something minor and they try to pull you in, you can respond with, "Oh, sorry, did you say potatoes?" Confuse the situation just enough, and people will likely laugh, instead of continuing the argument. This also works well in conversations you don't want to engage in. If someone is gossiping or talking about something unpleasant, just smile and say, "What's that? Oh, I thought you were talking about something else entirely." It shifts the topic without making it obvious that you're avoiding it. The best part? People rarely get mad at older adults for mishearing things. Instead, they often find it endearing. Just don't overdo it, or they might start shouting everything at you. Tips number 5. Acting clueless about modern trends. You don't have to keep up with every new slang word, fashion trend, or social media challenge. In fact, sometimes it's better to act completely clueless about modern trends. It not only saves you the trouble of trying to understand them, but it also gives younger people a chance to explain, often in amusing ways. For example, if someone says, "That's a vibe," just nod and say, "Oh yes, quite the vibe, isn't it?" Watch as they struggle to explain what they mean. This can turn into a fun game where they try to teach you new words, keeping the conversation light and entertaining. The key is to play along while still showing interest. When young people feel like they have something to teach you, they engage more. It can also be a great way to bond with grandkids or younger relatives. At the same time, acting clueless can help you avoid trends you're not interested in. If someone insists you try something new and you don't feel like it, just say, "Oh, I could never understand that stuff," and move on. Tips number 6. Playing dumb to get out of chores. Nobody enjoys doing chores all the time. But did you know that pretending not to know how to do something can often get you out of it? This is a classic strategy used by people of all ages, but it works especially well when you're older. For example, if someone asks you to load the dishwasher, you can respond, "Oh, these modern machines confuse me, I'd probably break something." More often than not, they'll just do it themselves rather than explain. This trick can also be used for fixing things around the house, running errands, or setting up electronics. The key is to play innocent, not lazy. If you seem genuinely confused, people are more likely to take over. Of course, use this sparingly, you don't want to seem helpless. But in the right situations, playing dumb can be your secret weapon for avoiding unnecessary work. Conclusion. Aging comes with wisdom, but sometimes, a little playful ignorance can make life easier and more enjoyable. Whether it's forgetting names, acting confused about technology, or mishearing things at the right moment, these strategies help avoid stress, navigate social situations, and even strengthen relationships. The key is to use them wisely, enough to steer conversations and responsibilities in your favor, but not so much that people question your abilities. Life should be fun at every stage, and playing a little dumb now and then just might be the smartest trick of all. So, embrace the art, enjoy the moments, and stay stress-free.